What is up everyone, I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I will be discussing how my first year of law school went, including academics, social life, and some tips for staying functional in law school at the University of Leicester in the UK. I arrived in the UK 2 weeks prior to my induction week, which is the first week of school, but not the first week of classes at the university. I had already pre-ordered cooking utensils, kitchen supplies, bedding, laundry detergent, a laundry basket, and clothes hangers, which were all delivered to my residence shortly after I arrived there. I purchased toiletries from Tesco after arriving in Leicester, although I did already bring my toothbrush, toothpaste, and floss from Canada. Arriving in Leicester 2 weeks prior to induction week definitely gave me enough time to settle and get used to life in the UK before school started. Now onto academics. We had 4 classes, aka modules, per semester. 3 of those modules were full year modules, meaning we took them in both semesters. Those 3 modules were tort law, contract law, and constitutional and administrative law. We also had 2 half-year or semester-long modules, namely Foundations of Law in first semester and Foundations of Canadian Law in second semester. Assessments in law school in the UK are weighted significantly differently than assessments in undergrad and assessments in the paralegal program at Centennial College. In tort law, there were 5% participation and attendance marks, a 25% mid-year assessment submitted online, and a 70% in-person open book final exam. In contract law, there was a 20% mid-year assessment submitted online, and an 80% online open book final exam. In constitutional and administrative law, there was a 20% mid-year online multiple choice quiz, and an 80% online open book final exam. In Foundations of Law, there was a 10% online multiple choice quiz, a 40% group presentation, and a 50% final individual assignment. In Foundations of Canadian Law, there was just a 100% final exam. So most of the modules each had a single final assessment worth an overwhelming majority of the final mark in the module. I'm pretty sure law schools in North America are not like that. If any of you attend or have attended law school in Canada or the US, then please let me know down in the comments whether I am correct about that. Now for me personally, this past school year was overall a good year, but it was also an unstable year because I was sick for the entire first week of classes. In other words, the entire week after induction week. Also, I had insomnia before I went to the UK, and my insomnia actually went away once I arrived in the UK, but then it came back in late November, early December of 2025. Then I became sick again for 10 days shortly after second semester began. So yeah, my body did not cooperate with me this past year. Also, I mentioned in one of my earlier YouTube shorts that general practitioners in the UK are not legally permitted to prescribe ADHD medication unless the patient is first assessed by a specialist in the UK, even if the patient has proof that they have been assessed for ADHD and was prescribed ADHD medication in their home country. The waitlist for getting an ADHD assessment in the UK is insanely long, and a blood test that I had taken in Canada in late 2024 showed that I had low ferritin, and ferritin is an indicator of iron stores. Therefore, I just ended up taking iron supplements instead of trying to get assessed for ADHD in the UK. Okay, on to social life. I am an introvert, therefore parties are not my favorite thing. But I still regularly went out once every 1 to 2 weekends with the same group of close friends, which grew as I got to better know a few more people in my class. Also, we sat together in nearly every class and hung out together nearly every day at lunch. which means we got to spend a good amount of time together, even when law school became hectic. In second semester, I attended a number of nighttime events/hangouts that lasted until 2:30 in the morning. First, I went to London one Saturday night with a few friends, where we ate at a high-end restaurant. A few nights later, I attended an event hosted by the University of Leicester's Student Canadian Law Society at a bar. 2 days after that, I went out for drinks with some people from my residence because it was the final day of work for one of the receptionists at my residence. Then, the week afterward was when I became sick for 10 days. So yeah, I think I've made it obvious that I am not the party type. Now onto tips for staying functional in law school at the University of Leicester. Number 1, sleep. Sleep is probably the most important thing for succeeding in law school. I was practically a zombie whenever I did not get at least 7.5 hours of sleep the previous night. And given my insomnia, I was a zombie for most of second semester. Also, melatonin is not available as an over-the-counter medication in the UK. It has to be prescribed by a doctor. Thankfully, one of my friends gave me melatonin that they brought from Canada, and I stopped struggling to fall asleep, although I did still occasionally wake up in the middle of the night. Number 2, drink lots of water. Dehydration by an amount equal to 2% or more of body weight can impair both cognitive and physical performance, according to the American College of Sports Medicine. Link to the article is down in the description below. I have definitely noticed that when I don't drink enough water, I have greater difficulty concentrating on my studies and understanding what I am studying. Number 3, get enough physical exercise. You do not absolutely need to get physical exercise every single day, but do your best to get at least 20 minutes a day of continuous, vigorous exercise for 4 days a week. If you live farther from campus, for example, it took me 20 to 25 minutes to walk from my residence to campus, then walking to campus can get you the exercise you need for the day, and you might not even need to hit the gym that day. Alright, so that is all I have for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, then please subscribe, like, comment, and share this video with others. In my next video, I will share tips on managing ADHD in law school. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Take care!